Thomas now, and we're along the waterfront in Thomas. We're standing on one end of what was once the Thomas railroad yard, where hopper cars loaded with coal were sorted and assembled into trains for shipment to market. But we're also immediately next to the site of the Thomas Industrial Complex. And the Thomas Industrial Complex was all about bringing coal out of the ground, sorting it, and loading it into those hopper cars, loading it onto those trains. Every town is located where it is for a reason, and usually those reasons are at least partly geographic. It's more often than not, it's common to find towns located along a river, like the North Fork of the Blackwater, where we are. Water supply is necessary for people. In the industrial age, it's also necessary for industrial processes. Everything runs on steam in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. And so the coal mines and the railroads, everything runs on steam, and you need water to make steam. So the Thomas Industrial Complex also served a vast underground geography. There was a system of interconnected mine tunnels that went all over the place. The mines in Thomas and the mines in Copton and the mines in other nearby communities were all connected. There was basically like an underground, it wasn't quite always literally a grid like a downtown street system, but the concept is similar. You know, an interconnected system of tunnels where coal could be mined out, brought to a tunnel entrance or a diagonal or a vertical shaft where the coal could be brought out of the ground. And so coal would be the way miners worked underground is they would drill a hole in the coal, they would place a dynamite or a blasting powder charge in that hole, they'd get out of the way, and they'd let diffuse. And that loosened up the coal in large quantities, and then those miners could go back in, load the coal into little rail carts that were smaller than your car, but bigger than a shopping cart. And those carts could bring the coal to the surface. Some mines also had conveyor belts instead. And depending on the surrounding geography, whether the tunnel was underneath a flat piece of ground where they had to go up, or in the side of a mountain where they would go straight out, the coal would come to the iconic building found at every mine complex, which was the tipple. And the tipple was a building usually built over the railroad tracks. That conveyor belt or those carts would come up a ramp, and the coal would be dumped into a hopper at the top of the building, and then through a series of chutes and other machinery, the coal would travel down through the tipple, where it was sorted both by hand and by machinery according to the sizes of the pieces of the coal. Impurities like slate or other rock would be removed, and in some cases the coal could be analyzed for its chemical properties and sent off to different uses according to those chemical properties. Some types of coal were better for making steel, some types of coal were better for home heat, some types of coal were better for large-scale industrial fuel use like locomotives or running factories or whatever. And so once sorted, the coal could be loaded into railroad cars and sent off according to according to what properties the customer that was purchasing it needed. And so that was the basic process. And here at one end of town in Thomas was a concentration of not only a tipple, but all the other buildings, all the other functions that supported the mining operation. There's a machine shop, which is actually the only building still standing from that complex. It's part of the recycling facility now. It's a yellow brick building. It was red brick, but it's painted yellow now. And the machine shop was where all the mining equipment was maintained. New parts could be made there. There's a whole separate skilled labor force here just to support the mining operation and make sure everything kept running smoothly. It was a powerhouse, one of the most notable architectural landmarks for many years Thomas was the smokestacks associated with the powerhouse that powered the mine equipment, powered machinery, generated electricity for the town. There was a row of tin smokestacks for a long time. They were actually iron, but the tin is used informally. Later on, there was a big concrete one that was torn down in the 1950s. It stood up above just about everything else in town. That's the Thomas Industrial Complex, and you can actually see the twin concrete smokestacks in the photograph here on the panel.